start with a lot of junk over here on the floor. There's a ton of like junk materials, old toys, things like that. And the idea is to be as creative as possible and try to kind of come up with a controller with the junk, make it do something games. And so this was modded for games with Sebastian in 2022. This workshop introduced interaction design and hacking with no experience needed, no prior knowledge needed. And each workshop, we usually do like a presentation. So when you're done with whatever you're making, we're gonna ask you to just talk about it, document it, and make a video at the end of everyone's done. And who can participate? It's really open for anyone, pre-makers, pre-takers, pre-innovators, anyone who wants to learn about making interactive objects. So we're not expected to be an electronics whiz. You're not actually dealing with circuitry. I'll take you through what we actually are using for these workshops, so you get a sense of that. But if you're overwhelmed by a traditional electronics class, this is kind of for you. And we really want people to take risks, people collaborate, challenge yourself, and innovate. The workshops have a long history. They started in 2003. They've been in 17 countries, 5 continents since then, hundreds of times, places. The website has video documentation, those workshops. And this is the modded version for games. So why do we want to do this? So look at this controller. This to me is not interesting. It's boring. It's a joystick with a bunch of buttons. Seamless at the time. So what can we actually do to make it more interesting? This is something that I built in my house. I actually have these games, and this is kind of what they are. I have a pinball machine with hundreds of tables, a virtual pinball machine, an analog machine, another device that has a small computer in it, which actually all these boxes you'll see have small computers. They're called Raspberry Pis. They're really good at emulating games. If you run some software called RetroPie, and systems and all these systems, all these Pis have been systems. On the right, I rebuilt a Macintosh, just kind of looks like at home, and kind of hard. Looks kind of crazy, but on the right is this Macintosh that is actually an old body, but I realized that the screen of the Macintosh is the same size as an iPad mini. So you can actually take out the screen, put a mini in, and then run emulation software. So that's kind of what I did here. You can see I turned the Mac into a touchscreen running Mac OS 1.0. You can actually like double click on the icons, drag them around as a touchscreen. You ever remember using these old Macs? And it works pretty well. So as you can see, I'm very into like hacking objects, creating things, running a game, and then just doing systems. I'll take you in kind of what is expected of you in the workshop. So what is a switch, right? Everyone uses a switch every day. Turn on the lights in your house, turn on the car, whatever. Things are open or things are closed, basically. What that means is that there is no electricity passing and there is electricity passing. So the electricity that we are using in this workshop is so minimal. It's under 5 volts. It's not scary electricity. It's very friendly electricity. And what we want you to do is you're not even going to get near that anyways. It doesn't really matter. You're basically going to be thinking about something more creative than that. Like the most boring switch possible. Your challenge is to take this switch and turn it into this, right? Something that actually is much more creative, much more exciting, something that teaches yourself a little bit about interaction design too. Like what can you actually do to create something innovative, challenging? There's also something called a logic gate, and that's a switch with an output that will only turn on when 2 other switches are on. So these are examples. So like this light bulb is only going to light up if switch A is on and switch B is on. It's like a simple example of a logic gate. You have to actually have those switches on. At the same time, we can make switches like that, although what you guys probably mainly be doing is just a simple switch. But that's an example of a complicated one. Then what are we using in the workshop?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. So we're using Raspberry Pis. They're small computers. They don't have screens. They have 4 USB ports and Ethernet jack there. It has a HDMI out to TVs and a processor on it. We're on a basic desktop operating system. It's about $40. A lot of people using electronics, projects, everything. We're using like game emulation. They're very good at game emulation. Latest one is the Raspberry Pi 5. It's the most powerful one. But in this workshop, we have one with a 3, I think 1 4, and the 5 can run higher end games. So over there, 5 on that screen. He's going to demo. You can run systems such as PlayStation 2, Wii, GameCube, and it runs systems all the way down to Sinclair, which is like a 1986 system. You know, very cool. Retrobus software, and then we also using these USB encoders, which they take switch input and they make it something that the Pi can understand. It's USB signal. So you are basically creating switches that connect. Show you what the board thing. So these are the controller boards. They're one in front of each. He's going to go over that.
Okay, so perfect. All right. These, does everyone see a controller board? They're all
Should be on the tables. Yeah.
should have one in line of sight. So that's going to be how you're going to easily make controllers. And there's a bunch of parts. They should look familiar to you. You've seen like a video game controller or arcade. Up, down, left, right. And then there's A, there's B, there's X and Y. And then there's 2 buttons that light up. Those are the start and select. So one of them, like select, is going to be coin. So with an arcade game, you need to add coins. So sometime if your game isn't starting, just hit select a bunch of times. And then there's start. What you see on the screens now is the menu. So you can select between using the arrow keys of the game. But ultimately, once you start a game, you might have to hit A. They're all different. But if you want to exit again, hold down those 2 colorful buttons. That's like the exit. So when you switch games. So you could spend some time browsing.
This is a little diagram of what they are. The boxes have HDMI out, a power jack, and then those are the directional buttons, the power button, the action buttons, and the start buttons. Then this is
Okay, and then this is like a new addition we added because while you're making controllers and like God knows what, just like boosters and stuff, you still need a controller to like select the game.
Yeah.
So we made this. It's basically just a button, but it has the 2 plugs. So you plug it into like whatever button you want to, like up, down, left, right. You don't even have to plug it in. Just like touch it, push it. It'll help you while you make your more elaborate controllers.
Sebastian 3D printed those are like amazing. These are some examples of games that we have on the systems. Some old games, some new games. And this is kind of an idea.
Wait a sec. I was also going to show something.
You can show
This wasn't in the slide. So the next tool that you'll be using is this this cable. So this is a banana pole,
Forgot about
which
that.
plugs in to Alligator, which has little clamps. There's a ton of wires over there in the back. That's where all the supplies are, but not all of them are this. So just do some sorting through it because this is what we'll plug in. And then the other thing we have is conductive materials. So a lot of the junk that we're making stuff with, it's not all conductive, so it can't be used for switch. So there are areas that they are conductive, but to make anything conductive, we have this copper tape. You could just tear it, and then you can add it to anything, and then it's metal. We also have aluminum foil if you need a little bit more bulk, and then we have like hot glue guns, cardboard, whatever you need to help there. But these are like the key components, the stuff to make it conductive, foil, and copper tape, and then these plugs.
These are some examples of groups. So we have 4 boxes. I think we should all split into groups, 4 groups. And these are some
4 groups
examples.
of like 6 people, I think.
Yeah.
5 to 6. 5 to 6, yeah.
These are some examples of what you could do. You could design directions, you could design action buttons, you could design a whole controller, everyone work together, design an element. Be as crazy as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. That's it. That's all we want to say. We'll be coming around the room and like helping
Yeah,
you guys. But all of the stuff is in the suitcases here. So if you actually all want to come up here and look at it,
Yeah.
to start.
Go up here and grab
Get
something that
inspired.
might be interesting to you. We also want to, should we count off? We've been counting off for teams.
We could just, you guys can self-sort.
Sort of self-sort?
Right? Okay,
That's
yeah.
count off.